Stacy is running for the Board of Supervisors. And if you like Andy, you love Stacy. She is running to unseat, hopefully, Adam Hill. We are beyond excited about that, let me tell you that. If we could do a clean sweep in this county with Andy and Stacy and Debbie and John, oh, wouldn't that be awesome? And Trump, come on. Go, Andy.
Thank you very much. CoLab's been around for 30 years, and we do a couple of dinners a year. We've never done soup before. So we're going to ask everybody to quiet down so they can hear. We've never done soup before. This was not us going El Cheapo Grande on you. What this was a prediction of things to come if Bernie Sanders becomes president of the United States. Because we will all be on the soup line again. I guarantee you, with the 70 to 90% tax rate, abolishing private property, abolishing patents, this is how Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was taught how to do math as a millennial. If healthcare is too expensive, then we just need to make it free. That is the way they're thinking. So, as that the introduction, as many of you know, I've served as the executive director of CoLab for 30 years. I used to work, I grew up in Lompoc. My dad was a Bataan Death March survivor. My mom was a World War II bride from Austria. I was born on an Air Force base. My dad got out when I was 3 years old, and we moved to California, to Kingsburg, California, went back to farming. And then most of the Bataan Death March guys passed away before age 50, and then such was the case with my dad. Hey, Debbie, can we turn the music down? She's here. Millennials. So do you ever watch, it's all right. Do you ever watch the American Idol reject show? You know, the first ones that come on, and they are absolutely dumbfounded, shocked, and offended that they've been told on live TV that they can't sing. Because all their life they got lied to. So when I was in kindergarten, I decided with my buddy we were going to go into the singing contest for talent. My sister sat in the front row and laughed out loud, and I watched my mom try not to laugh out loud in the back row. And then in second grade, I got a D in art and music. And my mom said, "Why'd you give him a D in music? He loves to sing." And she says, "Well, that's the problem. He takes the whole class off key every morning on My Country 'Tis of Thee." That is a true story. But this generation has been brought up to believe they can do anything. They are to believe in everything. And reality, facts, circumstances, and effort don't matter. They're called the participation trophy generation. And I coached AYSL here in Napomo for 17 years, so I saw this firsthand. They don't have to show up for practice or the games, or if they show up for the game, they don't have to play their position. And win-loss records are not kept, and everybody gets the same trophy and the same pizza party at the end of the session. And they want life, all of life, to be that way. But it's not. Effort does matter. Choices matter. Taking personal responsibility matters. And what's happened is this generation has now been dubbed the post-truth generation. The post-truth society. Well, in a country that was founded on the principle we hold these truths to be self-evident, there's a train wreck happening in slow motion right before our eyes. Amen. It's a train wreck. And America's constitutional republic, our freedom and our liberty is going to be the casualty. So we really, truly have to save our country from that millennial generation until they have to start paying the bills for all the free stuff. And then they're gonna be really woke then when they have to pay those bills. And I'm not against them. They've been indoctrinated and propagandized and coddled their whole lives. So when they're polled, what is truth? The number one response is, truth is what I feel it is. Truth is what I feel it is. Truth is really what they want it to be. And again, they're our future. But somehow we lost them for a generation, and we've got to get them back in some way, shape, or form. And unfortunately, people like Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Elizabeth Warren are playing on the worst attributes of that generation. So 4 years ago at UCSB, the students voted 90-10 for Bernie over Hillary. 90-10 because Hillary was too conservative / moderate / establishment for those college students. And it's only going to be worse this time around. So why are we doing events like this? We're doing events like this almost every day. Because we are not going to be able to outspend Salute Carbajal. He has over $1 million in the bank. But we're hoping we have something he can't buy. And that's reputation, integrity, and a worldview that actually works in the real world. So we're doing these meet and greets all the time. Now some of them are small. I met with 10 seniors this morning at lunch. And then, last week we were at Oyster Ridge Winery, 150 people. We went to Cambria. We thought all the conservatives in Cambria could meet in a phone booth. But there was actually 80 people, 80 to 90 people showed up in Cambria. Last week we were at Hope Ranch. Now, Hope Ranch is technically a gated community, and we had 90 people show up there. And I failed to mention, I grew up in Lompoc. Our only gated community was the prison. And to tell you the truth, I didn't get very far down the road because now I live in Napomo, which I call the Montecito of Guadalupe. But except for Lynn's house. Lynn's got a nice house. And Lynn hosted the only other meet and greet we had in this area. How many did you have? About 80 people there? Yeah, so we're doing really well. We've literally, and I'm going to tell you how we're going to win this thing. We're winning this grassroots. What we're doing right now is going to win this. Because we're creating voter intensity and voter enthusiasm built on what CoLab's done and what many of you stood for. I want to take Mike. Is Mike Lemos still here?
Yeah.
He didn't go home, did he? There you are. So Mike, and I don't want to burst out crying here because this really is near and dear to my heart. I grew up poor. I grew up in a single family household. So I believed in the American dream because that was my only chance. And in reality, it's the only chance any of us have. Because if you go the welfare route or the victim status, you end up becoming a slave to government for the rest of your life. But you look at what Mike Lemos has done. Hats off to him. He started this business. He started this business just delivering hay? Is that what it was? You weren't, marijuana wasn't legal back then, right? It was hay. It was hay. Don't get that wrong. It was hay, okay? And he built himself a pet food empire. Now he is competing against national and international companies. And he has a niche because he's local, he's got integrity, service, and everything else. And everybody knows if your pets could talk, they would say, but here's the deal. That was the American story going back 200 to 300 years. That is what they're crushing. Ingle and Gray, how long have you guys been around? Wake up, Bob. 74 years. When I was at Union Sugar, we had somebody retire every year that had been there for 40 years. And some of them were second generation. That's all gone. It's gone. And as a result of it, Rotary clubs can't find members because corporate America doesn't care about the local community. Mike Lemos and England Grace sponsor Little League teams and soccer teams. In fact, my daughter, who's working for Bob Engel, he sponsored her soccer team when she was a little kid. The plaque's hanging up there. You know, and we're losing that in America because we're losing freedom. That is the essence. Our DNA was freedom and liberty, not government control. And so this battle, this election is not about Democrat versus Republican, because I was a Democrat. It's about socialism versus a constitutional republic. Folks, let me tell you the good news. Let me tell you how well we spent money. Some of you want campaign signs. Well, we blew our budget on campaign signs already. We did $20,000. We did over somewhere around 2,800 or 2,900 signs, and they're almost all gone. We're going to do another batch after March 3rd. We spent the money in two ways. We have walked 75,000 households. And Laura Mordaunt and Andrea Seastrand and a number of other people here tonight, they walked 10,000 homes. Because there's no substitute, and this is my appeal to you, there's no substitute for your word, for your character assessment, for your desire and passion for this country. If you will host a meet and greet, or you will walk your block, or you'll tell people coming into your business what you've heard tonight and what you believe and how you built that business and how a 70 to 90% tax rate is going to not just wipe out businesses, it's going to wipe out pensions, it's going to wipe out 401ks, it's going to wipe out IRAs, it wipes out everything. And if we can convey that message, we can take back this country and we can take back this congressional seat. So the other good news, we've raised over $500,000 already. But we're going to need to raise another $500,000 minimum between now and November. It's game on now because Salute's just sitting on his bank account trusting incumbency. He's got the power of incumbency. So if Alex Padilla comes down to do a census seminar on one day and a fundraiser in Santa Barbara the next, Salute Carbajal gets a front page story. If he hands out meals to seniors, he gets a front page story. And so he's getting all this quote unquote earned media, and then plus in general the media is friendly to him. You know, they hit him with softballs. Like for instance, they asked who am I voting for? I said Donald Trump. Okay? They don't ask Salute Carbajal. Why? Because Salute Carbajal ran out of losers to endorse that aren't going to cost him the election. So let me tell you how this works. Let me tell you why this is the year to win this and the message you need to bring. I have this brainiac on the show named Dr. Gerard Francis Lamero. I've had him on my show over 50 times. He's a PhD number cruncher, so he's the one that kept track of how many times he's been on the show. And he knows how to drill down into data. He can not just read the poll results, he can actually read the polls and discern patterns. He worked for Hewlett Packard for 30 years. He's got a couple of PhDs, a total brainiac. He told me 2 to 3 years ago the Democratic Party is imploding. This was before Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez took on Joe Crowley and beat him. He was going to be the future Speaker of the House for the Dems. That's how powerful he was. She beat him. She's a know-nothing. She's an imbecile. But she beat him.
You're being kind.
Because he's old and he's white. And he's a man. That was all that she had to campaign on. So anyway, he told me they're divided. So what's happening right now is you've got Bernie Sanders railing against capitalism, and then you've got the shortest, I was going to say the biggest, the shortest capitalist pig, Bloomberg out there. Did you see the thing on Facebook? They had this sign. They had this sign out as if it was out in front of an amusement park ride. It says, you got to be this high to run for president. Anyway, so you got this capitalist pig, the 14th richest man in the world, who is going to drop $600 million to buy the Democratic nomination, versus Bernie, who honeymooned in communist Russia and has been railing against one. There's a train wreck happening right there. Half of that party is not going to vote for whoever their nominee is. And Trump, you can either not love him enough or not hate him enough, but he is our only choice. And so the bottom line here is our party is unified, their party is hopelessly divided. And it's going to manifest. It may not manifest in March, but it will manifest in November. So you need, and so when I'm down south, I talk to them about having Stockholm Syndrome. The Republicans down there are so browbeaten, they don't even do secret handshakes anymore. Okay? So they, and we've got to convince them by our turnout out here that yes, we can win this thing. And we can, and we will, and folks, we must. Because as that baby boomer generation dies, the greatest generation's almost gone. Because the baby boomers are the only thing holding us together right now. After they're gone, the millennials, some of the millennials are 40 years old right now. So we've got, what I want to do, if you help me win this thing, I'm going to go into every school I can get into. I'm going to use this congressional seat as a bully pulpit. I'm going to go into colleges and high schools throughout this region, and I'm going to teach them what socialism really is. Because they've been led to believe it means equality. That's what they think it means. But the truth of the matter is it means equality of outcome versus equality of opportunity. And the only way they can guarantee equality of outcome is taking away equality of opportunity. And that's what happens with Medicare. So today when I was talking to the seniors, I gave them my favorite example of Obamacare. Medicare for All is just Obamacare 2.0 on steroids, okay? So how do they do it? It was all about wealth redistribution, but in this case it's healthcare redistribution. So a 70-year-old nun, this is a literal God-given truth here. A 70-year-old nun has to pay for maternity coverage under Obamacare. That's the way it worked. Because they needed her money to pay for the 20-year-old and the 30-year-old. That's the way redistribution works. The other way it works is through rationing. Yeah, we'll pay for your hip replacement in 5 years. And you know what? Our veterans are already living under a one system, one size government-run program. It didn't work that well, did it, for them? We owed them more than that. My dad was a veteran. So we need you to introduce me to people. We need you to introduce yourself to people. Like, meet your neighbor, for crying out loud. And tell them that what's really at stake here, and that we don't have much time. So we've walked those houses. The good news is upwards of 50% of the independents were undecided. But that's not good for an incumbent Democrat. But the ones that were decided were beating them 3-1. Amen. 3-1. We've got to win. You've got to, if you're Democrat here, I was once too, but as Ronald Reagan said, the party left me, I didn't leave them. We need to win 22% of the Democrats in this region. So the older Democrats don't need to be told that socialism is a bad way to go. They understand that. They have a living memory of what that means, and they see what's happening in the world. The independents, the declined estates, we've got to get them to vote for me, and Stacy here, and Debbie Arnold, and John Pashong, and down south, Bruce Porter. We can turn this thing around. One of the secrets is going into churches. I've already spoke at 4 churches. I've got 3 more lined up. Talk to your priest, to your pastor, and tell them, isn't it a shame that our region Our region, the Central Coast region, made the top 10 list in the entire country of the most unchurched region in the country. And secondly, 25% of people that go to church vote. The other 75 don't on a regular basis. 50% are not even registered. If we got the church to vote, we could take California back in one election. One election. So I don't want to talk too long because I know this is a work night for some of you except for Bob Engel. I'm going to be a shameless capitalist pig because that's what I am. We're going to sell these. We have a box of these. We're going to sell these for $20. And the reason we don't give them away is they're too expensive. The other reason we give some stuff away is the feds require us, if we sold a button for 50 cents, we have to take your name, address, occupation, and employer. So we gave away the signs. That's why we ran out of money for the signs, because we didn't want to fill out those forms for $3 or $5. But for the hats, we're willing to do it, because that's the kind of people we are. So if you want a hat, you can buy one for $20, but if you give us a $100 donation, you get the hat for free. Lemos doesn't even have a deal like that. Does he? So, folks, what I'm trying to tell you is on March 3rd, we believe we're going to beat the odds, but we're probably not going to beat Salute. But listen though, we're building. Our plan has always been to build in November. So we by March 3rd, I will have gotten into 7 churches. I'm hoping to get into 40 or 50 by the time November pulls around. We've done probably 40 or so of these. I want to do another 100. And so far, the vote by mail ballot, Republicans are turning their ballots in at twice the rate of Democrats. So every sign we're looking for is there. Every sign that we've built for and targeted is there. And we've raised more money than we thought we could. We're not spending it all because I'm pretty frugal and tight. Those of you that know me know that's true. But what we're doing is we're building in November, and we believe that we can win this thing. We believe we have to. And we really do believe the year is right to return this. This area, for crying out loud, used to be called Reagan country. It was Reagan country. And I think that with all the things, one of the things you could tell people, this is how you do, if you need a dummy's guide to speak to Democrats, here's the question. Here's how you do it, okay? You ask them, how do you like the way California's being run? Ask them, did you know that 70% of the people in the state want to leave? Why is that? Do you want to leave? Why would you want to leave? They may talk about taxes, regulations, roads, schools, homelessness, crime. They may talk about all sorts of different things, right?
Right.
Well, you say, well, you know what? Republicans haven't had a voice, let alone a control in this state for decades. So why would you want to hand over the country to the same party? Where will we move to then? It's a legitimate question. They've destroyed this state. We still have all the assets they had when the gold rush came here. You know, we still have oil. There's still gold. It's illegal to mine it. But, you know, again, that's part of the problem. You know, we still have the assets and the resources we've always had. But government has destroyed it. And that's what socialist, quote, progressive / woke people do. They destroy things because they're takers. They're not makers. Yeah. And we've got to flip that thing around, and we've got to do it one election at a time. So please be as generous as you can with your time, your energy, your money. Walk your block, donate, tell people about the campaign, host a meet and greet. You can serve soup just like we did. You know, it might not be as good as Testa, but Testa does a wonderful job. Debbie and Martin, thank you again. Mike Lemos, thank you. Tom Zines, thank you. Get your hat, get your buttons. We have campaign literature. There's line for the dessert over there. and they'll take, what? Pardon? Yeah, $100 free hat. They'll sell them at the table that you came in on. So thank you all for coming.
Thank